Did I walk out?
Oh, we go now?
No, wait. Sorry.
Hey guys, how are you? Got some killers for you today. Come on, let's get the come on. Let's get the next. Love to see it. How's everybody doing? Who loves hash? Who's here because they love hash? Well, do I have a surprise for you? We also love hash, and we're going to dive into it. A lot of experience on the stage, a lot of terps. I know you guys might not be familiar with everybody, so let's get some quick intros in, and then we'll dive into our favorite stuff in a moment, okay? So, little introduction needed. The Compton Land Race. Immediately to my left, the great Masonic smoker. Edgar, how are you, bud?
What's up, everybody? I'm Edgar Pena from Compton, California. I make some seeds. I'm a breeder out of Compton, and I made some cool hash strains on the scene right now, and I'm here to talk about whatever I know. So I'll hand it off to my brother Mike right here.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Mike from Langstroth. I'm founder of Heartbeat Quarters. Here to
Yeah, clap. That's cool. No, clap. Yeah, that's totally reasonable. Whoever wants to, yeah. I get it. It's expired. Expired, for sure. And then the last one on the end, Ashley, with some of the best hardware in the game. Introduce yourself.
I'm Ashley David, and I'm actually with Scrappy Equipment.
Yeah.
Originally, we were in the Bay Area, but now we're in SoCal. So yeah, super excited to be here.
All right, we got a lot. We've had, these guys all have made a lot of fire hash over the years. Lots of hardware for themselves and for other people based off their work. And so, of course, one of the worst things about loving hash, particularly solventless, is how many things is tasted the same over the years, right? So like kind of every year is like a chase for that next new flavor that's like washes, it's commercially viable, it tastes a little different, it's a little bit special, right? So I thought we'd dive in from off the top with just like what are some of those flavors these guys are seeing right now that are checking the boxes for them. Feel like they might have a shot to like get into like obviously these guys are so far ahead when it comes to like selections and stuff like that. But what are these flavors they're seeing that might have a shot at like getting into the public consciousness over the next couple of years? And whoever wants to start with that, feel free.
For starters, I'll dive right into it. So generally speaking, everybody was on a Skittles chase, for the past 6 years, I think you were saying earlier. And yeah, that's been the case. It's common denominator in award-winning varieties. It's always a Skittles hybrid. And I've seen a pivot lately going towards more gas, sour, even varieties in hash form, where people were kind of scared to even wash those, let alone grow those varieties to wash, because not too many people had data on it. But now I've been seeing a couple more jars. Like I seen a sour Irene jar the other day, and that one was like nothing I've seen before as far as offerings. So I'm seeing the crosshairs in that direction. I see people still doing fruity varieties like the Shishka Berry. Just won first place Legends a couple of days ago. And people are getting more privy to varieties like Shishka Berry, but it's not necessarily that it's new. It's old stuff that's being shined on as new. And that's the case with a lot of new varieties. It's stuff that already exists, but it's getting some shine on it.
Yeah, actually, like he was kind of saying, I'm seeing a lot of like Starburst OG Pinos out there coming out. A lot of Z blends with like fruit varieties coming out. There's a lot of people growing a lot of Mendoza selections like Niche 33, you got the Tractor Proof out there. That one's a good one. But yeah, these are all good like hash strings that translate good to flavor, to the palate, and I think that's what's most important when you're making hash. Yeah. Especially if you're competing with it, it must taste exactly what it smells like,
I guess what I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing a lot of G's, SSOGs, cans coming back into the mix. I know I'm a fan from GMO, but I'm also seeing it coming to the mix a lot more with the OGs and. Sorry.
No doubt. I totally see chems, compared to the GMOs, it's a little different, you know, the GMO. And the thing I see with GMO too is everyone has GMO, but I think the GMO that I first had was from Resin Ranch, not Todd, but Resin Ranch out in Portland, Oregon. And it was like it had like a cookie back end, right? Where everyone kind of thinks they have GMO, and I think I don't, I can't prove it, but it's like raunchy and like kind of more, you know, offensive, whereas the GMO that I fell in love with initially had more of that cookie-esque terp coming off it, something like that.
Just straight.
But yeah, that's the pivot I do see. People are still doing everything, but more so they're betting more on the sours, the OGs, and the chems now, big time.
It's like they're digging back into East Coast genetics because a lot of the hash market came from that East Coast genetics. You know what I'm saying? So people are going into those like Top Dog, VX things, the things that Chem Dog did, and seeing if any of that old school stuff washes, and then you end up finding some hitters in the mix.
Yeah, and as far as breeders are concerned, like that are kind of doing stuff for hash, and I see a lot of people growing those genetics for hash are like Bloom and Archive, and you know I might be missing a breeder or two, but those two are like some of the guys that if you grow their gear, you're gonna crush it, you know, for sure with hash gear specifically.
And then some of the hash gears kind of washed down from all these hybrid crosses over the
My
years.
gear, I said that we always
Then
win,
you see
baby.
people that are taking things that wash kind of good and
Number one,
trying to back crosses into something that still has hybrid vigor that's like close to a land race, seeing if they can get that thing that makes it pop to the next level. And so stuff like that's super cool.
Yeah, I personally, I grow everybody's gear, and I get a front row seat, VIP front row, look under every rock, don't leak nothing unscathed, and that's the best way to get experience. You know, take it from me, cool, but go get your own experience.
All right, let's move on to our next subject matter. One of the coolest things about hash, I always argue, with the exception of the way the cannabis industry has had to embrace like certain business practices, like logistics and stuff like that. I think the next thing that has progressed the fastest over the last decade plus has been the solvent scene. I have been selling hash in Berkeley for 15 years, since December of '09. And the solvent list we had on the shelves in December of '09 when we reopened CBCB is just like, it's in such a different universe, like dimension than the things we're seeing on shelves these days, the quality of melts we're seeing. And I kind of just wanted to get these guys take, because I think a big part of that was specialized hardware for the space. So as like the technology has developed around hash, it has made it that much easier for people to do their best work at scale. And I kind of wanted to get this panel to speak on that. So, and Ashley, you do the perfect subject starter.
The hardware really has come a long way. When we first started washing back in 2009, sorry, not 2019, 2009, we started hand washing. And then we slowly moved into machine washing. When we were looking at machines, like we actually purchased a washing machine. So that's where we started. And then as things progressed, there's the Bubble Magics, and now we have Icons and various other different brands of commercial machinery. But I mean, we've gone from like little 5-gallon, 10-gallon buckets of washing and hand stirring to these 200-gallon, 120-gallon machines that have been able to take and wash over 100 grams of meat. So, pretty crazy.
How big were the first bags you guys ever made?
What was that?
How big were the first bags you guys made back in the day?
The first biggest batch that we made was probably when we got out here to California and really got to experiment with our Icon. Our funny story, we went to Jungle Boys to test out our first Icon. Kind of a story, but we actually had put like a basket on the inside of the tank because we thought, oh, that would be nice to put the material in, and let all the trichomes come out the sides, right, and down to the drain. Well, when we got there and we started washing, it was just a complete nightmare of foam. Just like the whole machine was just like filled with foam from washing and hash. And like, this definitely is not the way. So, but the first largest batch I would say would be about 80,000 grams.
Yeah. So you guys went crazy early.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta start big because it's much easier to scale down than it is to scale up.
No doubt.
Yeah, that's fucking huge right there. I house still, and nowadays they have like these big machines where you could do like 50K grams plus, you know, and you have these ultrasonic fucking sievers that, you know, drain the water like stupid fast, and you could just, you know, go through a bunch of fucking heads at once, you know, and yeah, man.
We also have a commercial filtration system too that he just pointed out, like, that just came out like, what, 2021, and I mean, we're in 2024, so that just gives you an idea of like where the commercial, like from just using bags to using commercial filtration systems. So it's really come a long way, I mean, even in 3 years.
Yeah, I used to open blast in my backyard in 2012, and just that's what I did, you know, open blast, and then one day my buddy Corey, he's my neighbor, he's like, hey, we should try doing some of that traditional hash, and I was like, he's like, I bought these, you know, these cheap bags that they sell at the General Hydroponics store, and I was like, whatever, like let's give it a shot. So we go home, I find like this Autoflower Skywalker, that's what it was labeled as, smelled gas. And I harvested almost immediately, and it was drying probably for like 10 days. And I was like, cool, let's watch this YouTube video and give it a twirl. And so we did, and we're watching the YouTube video, doing this remedial tech that we learned, and we end up washing it. We end up scooping it up, and it came out smelling great. It looked really yellow and light, but we were used to that brown traditional hash, even then still. And we're like, we did something wrong here. This isn't right. So we just went right back to what we knew. We went right back to Shattered, and then life went on. Everybody kept smoking Shattered, boom, boom. Some of my friends would try to come with their heady piece, smoke me out with hash. I didn't understand it. And then I think finally, like, I want to say like 2018 rolled around, and more people were throwing bets on hash, and it just became more available. And with that came the access of knowledge and the people showing their techniques and people having classes and hardware being made. And now, like, I'll turn on my Instagram and you'll see, you know, somebody else making new bags or a new machine, you know. But that's been the development with hash with me, and to me it's almost kind of like from going from closed loops to, which was like super sciencey to me, to like, oh, we're just learning how to keep stuff cold and back to basics, you know. It's almost like, it's like mind fuck, you know. But that's my firsthand position in the advancement of hardware and solventless, for sure. Yep.
All right, here's one I forgot to give you guys, T-ball you guys on the call earlier. Why do you think there's such a gap in the way the recreational market, such a limited quantity of the resin on that market is real top shelf, right? As opposed to the streets where like there's more of the market is closer to the best on the streets than in the rec market where maybe there's like 15% of people are hash would even smoke, right? So what has pushed, feel free to jump in, you look very committed on this, Michael.
Get up in there, Mike.
So what do you think is some of the catalysts that have led to the gap in like the way, it's not that you can't find fire in the rec market, it's just there's so, per capita, there's so much more on the streets, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, there's a
Ashley,
number,
you wanna-
yeah, it's just numbers situation, you know, and there's people that want to make a certain profit and aren't willing to pay for quality.
What you're seeing versus the white market versus the black market is that the passion in the commercial market, not that it's not there, it's the bosses that are pushing the numbers. Hey, we need to make this quota, we need to make that. So then when you're getting the lower quality that might be for the food grade, put in with your rosin grade hash, or sometimes even in your non-solvent hash. So that's like really the downfall I think is. And when you're on the black market, people are doing it because it's their passion, their livelihood, they don't have a boss anymore.
Yeah, it goes back to, there's quality, like there's Bud Light, Budweiser, Lagunitas, Clico, Krug, and then you get headier than that. So access to knowledge, and most of these guys are just selling Budweiser knowingly, and it's like, that's life.
Do you think there'd still be more, because there's a lot of people who left the rec market at fire, right? Do you think there'd still be more bougier brands in the rec market if the price of rosin hadn't crashed over the last like 8 years?
Definitely would.
I think the red tape too,
I feel like it affected some brands on the shelf, like there was a lot of brands that had, a lot of good fire on the shelf, and I would
$40 wholesale is pretty cool,
so it definitely affects the maker, and
I think sometimes it also hurts the fact that markets overtaxed too. So they have to put a quantity in sections.
it's almost like shooting yourself in the foot.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. Because in the long run, they'd see it. It's just like up front in front of them right now, they're not seeing it. And a lot of companies, they're small, right? So it's hard to build it.
Ashley, what was it like, since you got in so early, what was it like watching the BHO wave come and go? Like through that whole experience?
Pretty nuts. That's actually where we had initially started. We started in DHO. We extracted DHO like maybe 1 or 2 times. The last time we had a really bad experience. And we basically said about this, and can I say that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
We started getting into more of the dry sift and the non-solvent. We wanted something that was safe, that was healthier. And my theory behind it is no hate on the DHO at all. Once you introduce an oil into another oil, it's hard to extract it completely. That's always been my thought process behind it. But yeah.
And of course, there's certain flavors that don't wash that you're never going to get unless you get them from DHO. And that's a thing for sure too. That being said, when did you guys feel like Solidus had won the war? Right? Because it was
18.
weird for
18, I was watching early peaks of it, From a consumer, I went I was smoking CRC 20-gram jars for probably a year maybe, and then finally the hash rosin, the price went down and it was more affordable, more accessible. I got more friends that make it and it just started flowing in.
I'd have to say though, the nice thing about prices dropping for the consumer is that now people have more access to a healthier end product.
Yep.
That they're able to consume.
Yep.
fantastic. What a perfect segue, Ashley. One of the reasons those prices were able to drop were because of better best practices. And so I want to ask these guys, they're all crushing the hashes fire. What's some of the advice that meant the most to them over the years in getting to producing the quality of hash that they produce now?
I'll let Mike start. Okay. He's the hash man too.
My number one tip for making good hash is a good pre-soak. You want to make sure you're pre-soaking that material, especially if you don't know how the farmer harvested the material, whether or not it was dry or it was wet. A good pre-soak ensures that the material is moist before you start agitating it, because if you do start agitating it before, say a 5-minute pre-soak or 10-minute pre-soak, you'll be getting a lot of green in your milk. I would do a 15 to 20-minute pre-soak, and then you start spinning, depending on how the material's prepped. You sometimes you'll get material that's
get up in there.
That's balled up, That's balled up and frozen, that you want to let that material soak for a little bit longer. If it's nice and airy, where the farmer harvested it nice and where the nugs are still moving.
It perfectly.
Yeah.
Really took the time.
Right. So you can go a little bit less, 15 minutes, is where I like to stay in. Properly drying your hash in your freeze dryer, a lot of people like to.
How much hash gets ruined? How much hash gets ruined after it's made?
Man, a lot of it.
Ruined.
Ruined? Man, like, so there's a lot of hash that gets ruined and put into jars as rosin, and people don't even know. Like, it might smell good, but if it's not translating the flavor, it's fucking burning your throat, and like, then there's a high chance there's moisture in the hash. You know, you're not properly drying out. You're not fucking sleeving your melt and rerunning the melt again. You know, so properly drying your hash is very important.
Very important.
Harvest tech, you know, so I would say for those of you that make hash, there's a 48-hour dark period that you're supposed to do at the end of your harvest, you know. That brings out the resin, makes your heads a little bit bigger. And yeah, you also want to cut into your nugs for good surface coverage. You don't want your nugs to be too big or colas to be all jam packed. Definitely cut into your nugs, and so that way you get a better yield on your material.
Ashley, what was your favorite advice you got?
Well, I mean, for making hash, definitely drying and harvesting are definitely important. Obviously, the number one important is genetic grower. But washing it and, properly taking the time to, I personally like to use all the bags when I wash. I think it's super important for people to use all the bags because then they can collect the different sizes of different resins and then determine what resins you can mix together and rosin and that kind of thing. I think that's super important. I see a lot of people nowadays, they just run around like 3 bags. Just to, collect their food grade, their premium, and more food grade. And that's okay. I mean, it's completely fine. Like, I get it. It's a numbers game for a lot of people. But my personal opinion, I like to use most of the bags. And also for drying, I do my fridge guard, cold kit, and a refrigerator. At about 35 to 40 degrees for about 2 to 5 days.
Nice. I'm a breeder for hash, but I also do little side quests where I grow and hand off a bag of material to a really close friend of mine. But recently, in the past, year, we built a hash room at my garden, and we've been more hands-on, and I've been helping a couple homies. But some of the things that I've learned that have really stuck with me, that I learned is all like, okay, you want to make some premium hash, don't wash it for more than 6 minutes, a song or two, squeeze that first batch out, put it to the side, and the same thing kind of goes for the press, you press it at 170, you crank it for as long as you need to, and then everything else you could kind of squeeze it out. But that's what I learned, I learned I was washing for too long, so like I learned 170 is the sweet spot, I learned no more than 2 songs on your first twirl is like, you're pumping out mids after 2 songs. So that's what I learned as far as just 2 little basic things that.
Are there any
2
songs? Are there any
songs.
songs?
3 minutes and 30 seconds, not freaking Animals by Pink Floyd, So just a regular song.
Do you associate a particular song with the best hash you made this year?
Not yet.
When I'm washing, especially outdoors, I used to do a nice little 2-minute pre-wash just to get some of that dirt that you get from outdoor material off. So your next washes after that are just like more premium.
Dope tip. Thank you.
Nice.
What do you guys hate about the hash game the most?
Hate?
Oh.
I made a post the other day, and it's like the sticker game, like you go, you want to take a chance, you're flipping the coin on a distributor of hash, we'll say we're at a traditional space, and you can't even open the jars because it's kind of like you're messing with the product. And then you go home because this jar was promising based on the sticker, let alone the brand and everything, and you go home and you get that limp handshake, and you're almost like, am I even allowed to say anything?
It's variable QC. I think
You know?
is what they have there, yeah.
So that's whack to me,
Variable QC is whack, guys. For sure. Oh man, what are you mad about? You look furious.
I It seems to be what I want.
I probably do the same thing as you guys. When you get a jar at home and it looks super, smells super promising, and then you dab it and it smells like grandma's dirty basement. That's probably my biggest.
Well, I'm not really, I don't really hate the smell of it. I just really hate washing it because of just how terrible it yields.
Do you like
Just
it later on?
it's whatever. I mean, I could like it on a good on the
Do you
day.
like it outside? Okay, you hate super celebrities.
But I can appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can appreciate it. You know, a good one.
All right, so like 15 years from now, you guys could be producing for like a global consumer, right? With the way the ball's rolling right now, people are already sending packs from Canada to Germany. So to think like producing like California quality hash and sending it around the world is right around the corner. How much like do you think the industry needs to evolve a bit to allow there's so many artists and producers in California. How much does the industry have to evolve to give those people a shot to take part in that market that's about to come? Like, how hard is it to be a hash maker, a legal hash maker in California right now?
That's a tough question, right? It really is, because as you can see, what it's done to our community.
There's not a lot of artists and hash makers anymore. It's a certain it has to reach it has to be a certain scale to exist. It feels like it's all on the rec market, I guess, right?
Just do it. You know what I mean? If you
Access to the legal market at a much easier way, maybe not without having to go through all the red tape, maybe some red tape, maybe a little bit of taxes, but like what they're doing is just like crazy, and it makes it really hard to think of profit margins.
The artisan washers aren't necessarily rec. If you like go on your phone and you see like Trichrome and Passion for Hashing and people of that nature, I'd imagine they want to entertain that world. It's just a matter of does it make sense?
How much do you guys think like the digital evolution of jazz? Of course, Quartz is king. I get it. It's served up forever. I love Quartz. How much do you think the digital evolution of hash over the past like 8 years, just hash being more accessible and like an effective way to consume, has contributed to where it's at right in this moment compared to where it was like 10 years ago?
Like Instagram.
I just mean like Puffcos and stuff like that. Just like more like Cartas. The whole lineup. It's just like they're better. It's like we reached a certain point where we went from like random, really weird hardware for like electronic dabs to like something more functional.
Yeah.
And how much did that help take us to where we're at right now? You think? It's because hash is more widely recognized now than it's ever been.
Has pushed the boundary forward, and more people smoke hash worldwide because of it, and I totally give mega props to Puffco on that.
Yep.
I typically don't use Puffcos personally. I'll use them here and there, like on a hike or something. But they definitely have made it easier. Like I remember giving my doctor one that like nutritionist. I gave him a Puffco and some dabs, and he's like, "Dude, I love this thing. I take it everywhere."
Yeah, it definitely makes it easier to let the new user take a dab because like when they see a rig and a fucking slurper, they're like, what the fuck,
And it's just like there's a lot of communities that like seeing people smoke drugs with a blowtorch is like a traumatic thing. So I think like it helped like cross bridges like that were like had to happen.
And we live in a new age. Like every day there's a new smoker, right? And it's just that much easier for them to consume hash, right? Like as opposed to the heady culture that is the Quartz and the Slurpers and the American Glass. They hop on Instagram and they see their favorite rapper consuming hash, and it's out of a Puffco nowadays. You see a lot of that happen, and it does help with the purveying of hash, point blank period.
When did you guys all pretty much smoke hash all the time now, right?
Every day.
I knew that part. I meant like 100. I meant 100% though, pretty much minus the joint.
Mostly
right?
like 99.
So let's say 95%, right?
Yeah.
When did you? Okay, I love that. Thank you. Ashley, like the Puffco, which was awesome. Got that. So when did you guys all make the jump to, now let's say 95% and just like not turn back, you know what I'm saying?
It was around shatter days, you know, around the shatter days. I was already dabbing up. I was doing shatter slab dabs, making my own, you know, I was already balls deep. I didn't really care if I had flour or not. As long as I had shatter, I was good. And that's been since like 2000, at least 17.
Man.
Yeah. Maybe even before that, right then.
Way before that.
No, but like those 5 years, I was still like, let me, you know, it's like that breakup with the flour. You're like, we'll smoke a blunt, you know, we'll keep a jar around. But as soon as like 2017, I was like, we don't even need the bong, we don't need the flour, just give me all the hash.
We had to switch this off on Sunday shot, man. It's Saturdays forever. But you can't sit here trying to wipe that from history, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man. So how fascinating, one thing we've got to watch evolve in Hash the most over the last decade is the community. And it's cool that the Cup is here in Oakland this year because a lot of that evolution was happening in Oakland. So shout outs to Oakland for sure. And it's not like people had Instagram. It was sketchy as fuck making Hash in the late 2000s. So props to the people doing it. There was a bunch of great melts going around. And like there's a lot of credit due in the East Bay that was like pre-social media. So I just want to make sure we all like remember like Oakland is all, you know, despite the troubles of the moment for us and trying to keep grows and distros safe and all that, there's so much great history here. And I remember kind of one of the things in Oakland that kind of pushed production up was obviously Obama taking over in 08, right? And so everyone kind of watched Obama for a couple of years and we're like, all right, they ain't kicking the doors in. So, you know, so you saw hash production start to ramp up in Oakland even further. And then Richard Lee, of course, is like a martyr for what happens after he funds Prop 19. So a bunch of those hash people get shook. So there's been these just like crazy waves of solventless in Oakland over the years. And then obviously we got to the point where, you know millions of grams of hash pass through up and down to service California now. And maybe that's too much, for sure. But a bunch of it's heat, and we can be thankful for that. So a round of applause for Oakland's history in hash. Thank you. This is one of the questions I wanted to ask these guys the most, just to see where they're at on it. And it doesn't have to be any one answer. It's not like you have to give me a thing. You give me a lineup of fucking things you're excited about. It's cool. What some of the best hash you smoked lately that wasn't your own?
All right, just off top, off rip, just somebody that probably nobody knows, or you probably do. It's just small homie, big hash. You know, BJ Farms, he had a jar of Rainbow Belts the other day that I smoked, and it was 10 out of 10, and I wish I had an unlimited amount of it. You know, it was one of those jars. Recently.
Sick. Yourself?
My two favorite jars that I had in the past recently was a Grape Overload number 10, and that was made by Heads That Roll. And then I had a Candy Paloma that was made by Kim John's Rosin.
Let's go.
That was pretty dope.
Shout out.
And for me, I would have to say Death Star. Definitely checks all the boxes for me. Flavor, high, and then maybe it is in my mouth after I dab it. That's huge for me. And then that was some Dog and Troop. It's actually a Michigan company.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dogman's cool people.
Nice.
And you said Death Star, so that's like some Michigan shit right there, you know? Yeah, or Ohio, I don't fucking know, you know? They fight about it all the
Michigan,
time.
Ohio.
They fight about it all the time. But that's dope.
How hard is, back to what Michael was saying, how hard is it to find purples at Wash? Like to have that real mercy flavor, that real grape, that real, like, because a lot of times I see something called grape or purple when it comes to rosin, it's just a candy that they're just calling that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it
I never
actually
taste
tastes
it.
like grape.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So why don't we see more of that? Because it's so bomb. When you actually
It's
see
hard,
it, it's
man.
dope.
Like it's not a big yielder, you know. First of all, and it's hard to find a grape that's gonna translate what it smells like, you know. A lot of it has a chlorophyll kind of taste to it, like a more tarty flavor to it, you know, rather than a candy grape, you would say. But when someone finds one, you know, it's a fucking dope powder on, you know?
A lot of the time, converters just don't transfer either once you wash it. It's like they're all water soluble filters, so you don't need to taste it.
What's the wash for each of you? So whoever wants to take this first, feel free. So I always love asking people this question. What was the wash that you were the saddest about?
We washed Black Clam Reserve the other day. We probably cut down like 500 grams of it, some light depth from one of my selections. And we got like a gram back maybe, you know? It was really bad.
Recent scar.
This was like probably no more than 2 months ago.
Oof.
Yeah, yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, for me, it would have to be super silver hazed. I watched like about 16 kilos of it, and we got like 26 grams back, and that was full spec rosin too. I did like I even pulled the 25 bag and shit, and I was like, dude, I need to pull this out. Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I was like, damn, yeah, it was. Yeah.
How'd it taste?
It tasted pretty cool. It just didn't really give me that.
Oh, bro.
For me, I have to say, I did this Snow Monster, just to like, hunt, and I grew a really old genetic brew, exotic genetics Snow Monster, and when we had watched it back in the day, it's the finest hash we've ever had. We even got pulled over with a quarter-gram and asked if we had pounds. Like, it was so fire. So we're like, we gotta get these seeds again. We got some, popped them all, and didn't find one good pheno.
Do you know the cross on
So
it?
disappointing.
It sounds like a cookies and cream hybrid.
It's the white times. Yeah.
Fire, let's go.
All right, well, a couple more quick questions, and then I'll walk down and we can Q&A. You can ask us still what you want to about hash. So obviously, we'll start with you on this one, Mace, and then Michael, feel free to dive in after. What do you, when you guys are making selections for hash right now, like, and you see the market, you see your flavors, you see what put of trophies on your shelf, you see what put trophies on other people's shelves, like what, like it's obviously like the next chess move, right? So like, what's the like when you are so like strains, flavors that you look at, phenotypes. There's obviously a list of boxes right now that you're looking for when you're going through these pheno hunts, right? What are those boxes that are going to contribute to the thing that's your next chess piece? You know what I mean?
So I wrote this down because it's what I do.
Okay, fantastic.
So
There's
like,
also a fantastic comic book.
so it's growth patterns, finish dates, returns on hash, pest resistant, mold resistant, like those are important. But significance is also important. Like how different is this from everything that everyone else has, right? So that's like important to me. Finding outliers amongst everything that you play with as well. Experience, VIP front row seats always help with selection. So like don't take it from somebody else. Oh, this is the best, blah, 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 you're gonna win the lottery. Fuck no. Go do your own go grab your own pair of drums, make your own beat. And that's how I do my selections. It's pretty general, but growth patterns, finish times, returns on hash, pest, mold resistant, but more importantly, how significant and unique is this thing that I'm hunting? Because you could have all those things that I talked about initially, but what if it's just fucking train wreck? No disrespect, but like, it's nothing new. What if it's just papaya? What if it's another Z? Good for you, buddy, but like we're shining light on new shit, and that's what I respect.
As your company has scaled up in recent years, how many more phenos are like coming back to you from people popping your gear?
Oh, it's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing.
Phenols are that you would consider keepers.
That was.
So let me give you an example. We pop thousands of seeds, and we grow them how we grow them. People think, oh, you must have like a massive pot. No, you can pop 1,000 seeds and have them all in this section in 1 gallon pots and just skim through them, right? So say we pop 500 seeds from all these dope breeders, we went to Spanibus, we grabbed all the who's, all the hottest strains, probably find 3 unique things in there. And even then, you're not even like impressed. You're like, oh, I only kept it because I don't have a spritzer clone, so I'm gonna keep that variety. It's things like
And
that.
that's what waters down the next generation.
Something like that,
Are you
yeah.
flowering out these varieties, or are you just like doing like a little veg? type deal?
They have to be flowered out in order for me to even pull them.
Okay.
Like the one we did.
Flowering out all these varieties.
The one we did initially is all flowered out. We didn't even make seeds with them. We killed them all.
Okay.
That's where we're at with our breeding process. We don't like it, just kill it. We grow for grow, we discoveries for discovery. We try to back up, the stuff that's important. If we miss something, re-veg it.
Feel free to dive in on the selection talk, sir.
It's mostly just a transition to palate. It's like something I like. I smoke a lot of different shit. Like before when I started hash making, I didn't really like fucking Z. A lot of I was just I didn't like Z when I first started making hash making. And only because I didn't try a good as Z. And it's really hard to really grow a good Z. You know what I'm saying? For it to translate how you want it to be. Without like that soapy taste to it. So I'm always looking for something that translates to palate, and I'm looking at if it gives me milk. Is it dumping in the 90? Is it dumping in the fucking 104 bag? And then yield is another one too, and how it grows. How easy is it to grow? Those are the biggest things that I look for when I'm hunting, and yeah.
How many things how hard is it to knock something out of your production lineup right now? You have this lineup of
I'm a hoarder.
So
Like what you have in your stable?
yeah, with your main stable, how hard is it to knock something off?
If it dies, it dies.
Man, it's hard. You kind of don't want to fucking knock anything out because one day you're gonna be like, oh, what's up with that fucking cactus cut, or fucking Girl Scout cookies and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like people don't be holding shit like that. And those are fire ass staples that people want back. It's kind of hard.
Part of my stable.
How often do you even add? Because I know you've had your cuts for so long. How often do you add anything these days?
We don't have any super old cuts anymore.
Okay.
I would say
It was a
6
phase.
months ago, right? About 6 months ago, we got the GMO, original GMO from Michigan, from the guy that hunted it himself.
Skunk Master Flex. Is that him? Oh, his friend did it.
Billy.
Billy did it.
Billy was the one.
Shout out Billy.
Shout out
Let's go.
some lives.
And then we had the GG4 too. We had it up until about 6 months ago as well. And then, we're just like,
Did you give it to somebody?
No, but we have another grow in Michigan, and they hold on to.
Think about a new hash maker that would have been so fucking.
I just got GG4 the other
You
day.
were like, okay, good thing. It's like GMO maybe, but the GG4 now when we started washing and growing it over again, I was like, man, there's so many better things out there. It's great for resin yields and that kind of thing. But the flavor with all the different flavors that are out there now, it was kind of mild.
There's a reason you don't see a lot of girls do that.
Yeah, I guess we stopped smoking it for a reason in the most respectful way, And it's cool to be romantic and still have that available and revisit it. But as soon as we do, we're like, okay, where's my Skittles at? This is what I'm smoking, And if we're spending our hard-earned dollars on our stuff, it's all I'm not gonna flip the coin and go back in time. Some people love it, good for them, but
If I could go back in time and keep 1 or 2 genetics that I don't have right now, it'd be Blissful Wizard Diff 32.
oh my God, I had that one.
That one, the police were not taking it, I still have it to this day.
I got that cut in the worst way, but when I had that cut is when I was getting a bunch of cuts, I was happy with where I was at. I was like, oh, I don't need the cut. I'll breed with it. I won't keep it. Blah, blah, blah. I'll just make seeds. But the 32 is I wouldn't mind having that one again for sure.
You got it for 32?
I got it from, rest in peace, from Michael Hendon from Modern Epigenetics. He was a great sourcer of genetics. And it was really, really good. It was really, really good.
She meant a lot to us. She was our first win. We won with her in High Times in LA in 2015, and right after that we got rated. And
I remember I hopped on Instagram on 2016 and Blissful Wizard was the hottest shit on Instagram. You couldn't scroll without seeing somebody making a meme about it or anything about that. But yeah, I did make tons of B-Wiz hybrids though. We did B-Wiz Runts Wilson and B-Wiz Wilson and a couple other ones for sure. For sure.
All right, one more question, and then I'll jump down to the Q&A. Guys, your awesome questions ready. I'm so excited. All right. What are your hopes for the hash in the months to come, in the years to come? Where do you hope it? Like, it's obviously doing pretty awesome in the moment, but where do you hope it heads from here?
I hope a lot of people are experiencing with like more pheno hunting and like, you know, diving into the fucking pack of seeds that you got here at the cut, or like fucking, you know, not growing in the cut that your fucking homie gave you or something. You know, dive into something that you believe in and something that you fucking love, that you like, that you stand by, you know, and grow it. You know, don't worry about what people are fucking. Oh yeah, fucking grow some fucking Skittles. You know what I mean? Don't fucking do it. If you don't want to fucking do it, if you don't like it, it doesn't fucking, you don't like the fucking deal, do something that's gonna like make you happy when you're growing it. When you're waking up, you want to fucking, you know, go into that garden like, fuck, I can't wait to fucking smell these fucking flowers, you know?
Like a party with layers.
You know, so,
Yeah, you know, what would I like to see? I would like to see all my friends and people that associate with me, are part of my circle, physically grow either indoor or outdoor in the confines of their space, and then producing resin and then bringing it my way. You know, that sounds selfish, and smoking it together.
They're doing it like you're breathing.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why you want it. It's
Yeah.
not being selfish.
Yeah.
It's like you want knowledge.
And I want them to boss up too and have their own. They don't have to go buy no more. They're pumping out light depths. Their full terms are pumping. Their indoors almost done. You know, that's what I want to see. More and more resin coming out of, you know, just Joe Schmo's hand. Just me, just like me. I wake up and eat cereal. You know, things like that. You know.
Now, I would like to see, this is a little weird, but I'd like to see a little bit more cured resin washed over fresh resin. I know a lot of people probably don't want to go through the process of drying it properly and freezing it and then washing it, but we've done it, and let me tell you, you almost can't tell the difference in the flavor there. And the stable, the stability of it on the shelf is amazing.
Yeah, my buddy SB&B, he and his buddy Hambone, they dry and then they wash it, and it's different. It's just different.
it sounds different and everything.
It's like extended release.
It sounds different, but like you guys have so like fresh frozen, presses out, but like to get less in the bag and presses out more on the rosin. As opposed to cured hash, you get more in the bag, but it presses out less in the hash. But in the rosin, but at the end of the day, it's about the same in the yields.
No doubt, no doubt. Just more people trying shit. More people doing fridge dry. More people doing air dry. You know, that'd be cool. But good air dry, good fridge. You know, we're in the same boat. We're trying to make it as best as we can over here at Masonics as well.
More melon, more six-star.
All right, you guys open to close discussion. I'll try to do the last like 9 minutes of Q&A. So I'm going to thank you, shout out to love, grandmas.
No doubt. Any questions?
Yeah, you guys want to say bye before I'll run the questions right to
Oh, okay. So just close it off. Yo, shout out everybody that came. You know, I see a bunch of homies. I see some homies that came up from LA. A bunch of family in here. My beautiful wife, the real Masonic smoker over there, and everybody in here that came to watch this panel. You know, I feel really important right now. Thank you guys.
All right, 5 guys. This is one of the best Q&As you can share in your plan. So we have 10 minutes. No questions. First question, you guys will start here, and then we'll go that way. Yeah, so, sorry, Josh.
Yeah, when I was doing the beat and today, hardware, what's your favorite things to use when you're going for flowers? As far as like dry set, fire set, water set, process. What do you guys think?
Like, what do we like to drag on, like in the hash, is that what you're saying?
Usually like, yeah, it's maybe cheap, like one string, it's like, you guys have all these things to use, experience. What do you think you already come to a conclusion with this test?
I don't really understand the question. I'm sorry. Do you guys understand the question?
I understood it as like, what do we like to do both. I do like the dry fit and President Adams dry fit. Very, very good.
Yeah, that was about it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like pressing out the rosin from Ashland.
I can speak what I do, you know, we air dry everything at our garden. We have some material that when we wick it for about 40 minutes, it's able to run through the sieve right away. So we do that. And if it's not, we throw it in the freezer and then we microplane it later. But like, I learned that 40-minute wick because I thought all you could do was freeze it. But when I learned the 40-minute wick and some strains like Fatso, when I washed Fatso, it was, you know, I could sieve it 40 minutes after letting it wick, and it like dried almost 24 to 48 hours almost after. And that's kind of like dope because it's air dry and you think it takes longer, you know, but that's not the case. Like 24 hours later, we had hash air dry, Fatso. I hope that answered your question.
So, you said when printing a material, I have to wash it in the vessel for 2 minutes for outdoor. Do I agitate or do I just let it soak and then done?
So, I don't know if he's asking you or me.
I think that was you said
So
that.
for me, it's mainly for outdoor material that I recommend doing like what I call a pre-wash. So I'll do like a 1 or 2 minute like spin on my washing machine, and then I'll drain it through my bags, and all of that kind of is like food grade hash basically, and then I go into my full on like 6 minute wash.
Are you doing like a light spin or like a full
Yeah,
light?
very light spin, just to kind of like a good majority of the dirt off the material.
I'd imagine you have a massive amount of weed as well, right?
I mean, either way you look at it.
But like
I do little.
somebody that's doing like 5 turkey bags, you know, they're compromising a lot of their yield in that 2 minute maybe.
It's not a whole lot.
I'm scared. I'm right here listening to you and I'm like, I don't know.
In the first 1 or 2 minutes, they're not like raining. It's
Okay.
not raining. You usually get that like after like I would say about the 3 minute mark.
Okay.
You're starting to see like more of the trichromes
No
drop
doubt.
off the material.
We'll try it out for sure. I'll tag you on
It's
that.
mainly for outdoor, like I said.
Yeah. And we only harvest so much, so it's all like, you know, we'll take what we can, you know? We'll take the dirt with it. Fuck it, you know? We're gonna press it out later, we'll be fine. Fucking right. It'll be all fine. We're polishing that turd anyways.
All right, next question in the middle.
Hey, I'm an old school hash user, and one thing I can do is that I appreciate the people that use and keep the bag separate. I have a love for that number 73, and whenever I find that, I really go into ecstasy. So I want to remind folks that dumping everything together can make us really sad.
Okay, no doubt.
Fantastic. All right, any more questions for our fantastic? Go on. Hit it. Awesome. Everyone is trying to squeeze a few in.
All right, I had a question about like actually air drying hash. Are there any tips for people who don't have access to freeze dryers, more of like a home grower? Or are some more tips you could do for somebody who doesn't have access to something like that? Like what temperatures do you want to dry your resin at after wash, things like that?
So for air drying, what we like typically like to do is like when we pull our bags and we lightly press out the water, put it in the freezer for 12 to 24 hours, then pull it back out, microclean it on the parchment, and then stack them in a refrigerator that has a freezer on top because it has a condenser. And then basically set it at about 75 degrees. And you can actually get like a little thermometer thing that you can put in there so that you can watch like from your phone like the the humidity levels drop and fluctuate in there until it's dry and flat. But that, honestly is gonna be like, without having to buy a freeze dryer, that's the best way. That's how we personally dry it, and that's like how I like to dry it personally. I feel like it retains more of the proteins in the hash.
Well, we worked our way up from, we bought the press first, just so you could, we don't, that's one investment that isn't the freeze dryer, but it's worth it because, you don't have to smoke too much of that particulate in your mouth, assuming you're learning on your way up, right? And you can kind of get that out, but you learn as you go, right? So we started with pizza boxes, built out the cold room, got a CoolBot just recently, so now we can get the room down to 43. We found out that's too low. You got to let a little bit of airflow go. Then we've done Fridge Tech before, and that one came out a little bit better. But we don't have a fridge for that, so we just do we have those cooking trays where you just put trays and you just work your way up. Eventually you set the foundation where you can buy a freeze dryer, and by then you make such good air dry you don't even care for it. So it's like, work your way up. Use what you got and work and work your way up. Don't be ashamed. Some people are ashamed of even showing what's behind the curtain. It wouldn't be to their best interest.
We have a little scratches in it.
Never use a lack.
Looks perfect. We do the cookie trick.
Never use a lack of hardware as an excuse to not try and get better, for sure. There's always steps to be taken to try and improve your craft.
Yeah, and just lick out your cups too.
Make sure you're
Lick them real good.
at least cut out nice.
Alright, well, hey, did you guys have fun? Yeah! Yo, huge round of applause for our amazing judges. Some of my favorite people in hash. Shout outs to the Emerald Cup for letting me pick the pin on myself and do exactly how I wanted to do it. I'm so glad we got to talk with these guys about this. I feel like there's a lot of fresh stuff we don't get to hear at hash panels. And that was what I was shooting for, and I hope you guys had a blast. Ray John, enjoy the rest of the cup, okay?
Thank you guys.
Jimmy Devon was the panel. Let's hear it for everybody. Ray John. Hey, I have to make kind of a serious announcement about 4 minutes.